Um, are you with a particular organization right now? Are you?
I work with a Speaker Spotlight, which is a speakers bureau, but I'm also just a very motivated, passionate mental health advocate after everything I've gone through, being a suicide survivor and a guy that struggled with mental illness almost my whole life.
A lot of Buffalonians know your story.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to go into that, but if I'm correct, your mental illness, you suffered from it before.
I struggled as a kid, and I think mental illness can sometimes go dormant. And I did good off and on, and that. But after the accident in 1989, playing for the Sabres, which I'm relatively famous for because I wasn't that good a player, so at least I'm famous for that. PTSD was the big thing that really nailed me, and I really started to struggle with things that I struggled with as a kid, like obsessiveness, compulsive acting, depression, anxiety. Things went way, way, way big on me.
Was this all a direct result of that incident?
Yeah, but I didn't know that until 20 years later. That because no counseling was offered, and I didn't think of it either back then. PTSD wasn't even a thing, and so later on, and that's what I finally got well, because I attempted suicide and got the help I needed. But that was a result of the accident in Buffalo in 1989. Undiagnosed PTSD.
And did that accident trigger a lot of the things that you had gone through as a child? Anxiety, depression?
Yes, I just way more magnified, and just I couldn't leave. It was hard to leave the house. It'd take me 3-4 hours to get ready to leave the house. The OCD was like that. Depression, not sleeping. I had nightmares of the skate coming up, and where I would see it in my just as it happened in that game. And I'd sit straight up in bed and couldn't sleep. And I went 10 days one time without sleeping because I just would keep waking up every time that skate would come up.
How did you get from the suicide to now where you're trying to go out there and help kids like you are today?
It's a great question, but a lot of counseling, medication which I need for my depression and anxiety and OCD. I take my medication, I do meditation, I work out to try and keep my chemical imbalance in balance. Just the motivation that, I was spared. I lived, and why? Why did I live? It's to be here. And there's people that struggle every day. There's a lot. After I wrote my book, I didn't realize how many people struggled. But I get so many emails every day. The book's been out for 2-3 years. And every day I get at least 3-4 emails from people that say, hey, and some of them are current athletes playing, saying just thank you. I thought I was alone, and people think, I know I used to think I was alone. And then I realized, there's other people out there, but they're not as bad as me. I'm really crazy, so yeah.
So what do you tell the students today?
I tell them my story, basically, and that at the end all is there's help, and you can get well.
What do you think resonates the most with them? I mean, you have a little Q&A, don't you?
Yeah, most times I do. I think, I tell the people my story, and a lot of it is the mental illness part of my story, but also about the stresses of being a college student, being in university, all the demands. If you're a parent, some people, they got the kids, baseball, hockey, they're going 9-0, and it's not always mental illness, it's emotional sickness because we just go, go, go.
What do you hope they take away from it today? Here, let me reframe really quick. Go right ahead.
I hope I just prevent one suicide, seriously, or a very anxious or depressed person getting counseling and getting help.
Do you think that by you coming here, you are the impetus for saving lives?
Absolutely. I've had people say to me that, you know what, you saved my life, and I'm like, what? Yeah, you saved my life. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I read your story, I read your book, or I heard you speak, and it got me into counseling, or it got me onto some medication, or something like that. I'm like, holy crap, I'm making a difference. It keeps me going. It does.
Last question for you. I know you got a big audience to address.
Right.
If you had this big audience, you could only speak for a minute, what would you say to them?
You're not alone. You're not alone. There's a whole bunch of us out there that struggle, and you can get help.